Have you ever wondered what it would be like to know everything that's going to happen, like truly everything, to have a clear, unwavering vision of the future, down to every last detail? Our deep dive today delves into a world where, well, such knowledge exists, but it comes at a terrifying cost. We're plunging into the profound and complex narrative surrounding Paul Muad'Dib. He's the central figure, of course, from the dense but utterly captivating source material of Dune Messiah. We've gathered analyses, official histories from within the Dune universe itself, critical takes, basically trying to give you a shortcut to understanding this incredibly complex character.
It's fascinating stuff because we're not just exploring a story here, are we? We're sort of extracting nuggets of insight from this really rich tapestry of interwoven perspectives.
Yeah.
You got the official histories, yeah, but also these secret conspiracies, deep personal struggles. It's all in there.
Yeah.
Our mission really is to distill the core challenges Paul faces. We're focusing particularly on the deadly nature of his prophetic gift and that intricate web of forces trying to control him or, destroy him. You'll see how his immense power is both his greatest strength and, ironically, his ultimate undoing. It reveals some pretty surprising facts about leadership, destiny, and maybe the human condition itself.
Thinking about Paul's power, it's easy to just see the God Emperor aspect, but that burden that came with it, immense. His prescience, for all its might, it really became his greatest curse. Paul Muad'Dib couldn't even prophesy without melange, the spice. But as one analysis puts it, precise and comprehensive knowledge of the future promises death. That's quite the statement for a guy who seemed to have it all.
It is a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not just a clever plot point. It's deeper than that. It's commentary on absolute knowledge. The real key, according to the source material, to understanding Paul's fall comes only by considering the deadly nature of the prophetic gift. It's right there. So it wasn't just external enemies lining up against him, though there were plenty of those. It was the weight, the sheer crushing weight of knowing all future outcomes, even the horrific ones, with certainty. And that, raises a big question for all of us, really. What does it mean to have free will when you know every consequence, every single step, every horror down the road?
It's like being trapped.
Exactly. It's a kind of paralysis, not by chains, but by inevitability, by what you see coming.
And Paul felt it deeply. He wasn't some power-mad tyrant reveling. Not at all. The sources show he often just yearned to escape that godlike status. There's that famous line, him thinking, I never wanted to be a god. I just wanted to disappear like a glittering dewdrop at dawn. Wow. Just wanting to fade away, despite having all that power. It's powerful imagery. Makes you wonder, was that a genuine wish for peace? Or maybe a kind of fatalistic acceptance?
That's a crucial point, a really crucial point, because it connects directly to his internal struggle, this constant agonizing conflict he's living with. Paul grapples with the immense suffering caused by his holy war, the jihad, a war he foresaw. He saw the path, but seemingly couldn't stop it, or wouldn't divert from it, maybe. He actually ponders, what is one life, however limitlessly loved, compared to the countless lives the jihad will take? That's straight from his inner thoughts in the text. It just highlights his profound isolation, doesn't it? And the terrible moral compromises forced on him by his own power. He even sees that the jihad will be led even by his ghost. It hammers home the inevitability he feels trapped by. He sees no way out, no other path that doesn't lead to something even worse. It's a destiny he feels bound to, not really one he chose freely.
But Paul's suffering wasn't just internal, was it? I mean, while he's wrestling with these visions, this incredibly complex web of external forces was tightened around him. And here's where it gets really interesting, digging into these sources, just how many powerful players were actively trying to take him down. It wasn't one big bad enemy. It was this messy alliance, almost. Who were the main architects plotting his downfall, and why? What drove them?
It really was a grand conspiracy, wasn't it? A kind of temporary alliance against the emperor himself. It shows how even the most powerful figure can be vulnerable when different factions, people who usually fight each other, suddenly find common cause. It's a classic example of how a perceived threat can create the unlikeliest of bedfellows. Reveals a lot about power dynamics, really. So at the heart of this conspiracy, you had the Spacing Guild, the Bene Gesserit, and the Bene Talaxu. And they often use those insidious face dancers as tools. Some less common theories mentioned in the archives even hint at things like the mystical tarot of Dune, maybe influencing Paul's visions. Kind of a fringe idea, but fascinating, suggesting maybe his foresight wasn't just seeing reality, but perhaps shaped by other forces. Adds another layer.
Okay, let's break those down. The Bene Talaxu, their methods were, frankly, pretty chilling. They seem central to the plot against Paul.
Oh, absolutely central. The Tleilaxu are these master genetic manipulators, utterly ruthless, secretive. They even claimed, according to some accounts, that they once gave birth to the Kwisatz Haderach themselves, which implies they think they understand Paul's powers, maybe even better than he does, and definitely want to usurp his position, probably with their own manufactured version, their key weapon against Paul, a Gola. Basically, it's a clone grown from the dead cells of a person. They bring them back, strip the memories, recondition them, and for Paul, the Gola they use is Duncan, Idaho. His closest friend, his swordmaster, killed defending Paul's family, brought back as this entity called hate. In this resurrected flesh dwelt two beings, and one of them hid a threat, concealing its power behind an unforgettable appearance. Chilling phrase. Hate's purpose: to destroy Paul. But not necessarily through combat, more through manipulation, psychological warfare, exploiting Paul's grief and love for the original Duncan. And he himself is struggling, right? This internal battle between the Twi'leksu programming and the slowly re-emerging memories of Duncan, Idaho. It's pure psychological torture for Paul, and they don't leave it to chance. They have this Twi'leksu dwarf, Bijaz, who's incredibly calculating. His job is basically to poke and prod hate, to try and awaken the original Duncan at precisely the right moment to break Paul, weaponizing his deepest bonds.
God, that's insidious. Okay, then there's the Spacing Guild, represented by the navigator, Adric. He's such a memorable image floating in that tank of orange spice gas. The description: elongated figures still somewhat resembled a human, despite webbed feet and huge flipper-like hands. It really paints a picture of their dependence on the spice. What was their motivation here?
Yeah, Edric's a great visual. For the Guild, it's all about control and survival, really. Their entire monopoly, their power, rests on their unique ability to navigate fold space safely. And how do they do that? Through limited prescience, granted by massive consumption of spice gas. Edric embodies their power, but also their vulnerability. Paul's prescience, which is far superior and doesn't rely on the Guild or even vast amounts of spice in the same way, well, it's an existential threat to them. If Paul, or his heirs, can control spice production and see the safe paths through space without Guild navigators, then the Guild becomes obsolete. Their power base just evaporates. Edric himself, he's got this very subtle cynicism. He says at one point, religion is also a weapon, and an even more powerful weapon when religion and power unite.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot about how they see the universe. It's all intertwined: politics, economics, belief. And Paul's disrupting that entire system just by existing.
And the Bene Gesserit, Paul's own ancestral order, in a way. And his wife, Princess Irulan. You'd think they'd be on his side, but the sources show it's way more complicated.
Way more complicated. The Bene Gesserit, this ancient sisterhood, they have their own agenda, their own centuries-long breeding program. They were trying to meticulously create their own Kwisatz Haderach, a male Bene Gesserit who would access both male and female ancestral memories and see the future. Paul is that Kwisatz Haderach, essentially. But he arrived a generation early and, crucially, outside their direct control. He's their achievement, but also their biggest failure, in a way. So they want to regain control, preserve what they see as a pure bloodline. They deeply fear Chani's wild Fremen blood mixing with the Atreides line, thinking it'll corrupt their precious genetic plant. Reverend Mother Mohiam, who tested Paul as a boy, she's a major figure here, formidable, manipulative, constantly trying to pull strings. Paul directly confronts her about her role in his past, challenging her authority. And then there's Princess Irulan, Paul's political wife, Bene Gesserit trained. She's essentially placed there as an agent initially, but she develops this complex, well, maybe not love, but care for Paul, or at least respect for his legacy. She struggles with her loyalty, Bene Gesserit versus Paul. Ultimately, she chooses Paul's children, protecting them, playing a crucial role in their survival, actually. It's quite a tragic arc for her.
And adding another layer of just creepiness are the face dancers, shapeshifters, the ultimate spies. Sightale sounds particularly nasty.
Yeah, the face dancers are the Twi'leksu's primary tool for infiltration and assassination. Masters of mimicry. They can look and sound like anyone. Imagine the paranoia that creates. Sightale is a prime example. A high-ranking Twi'leksu, also a face dancer. He can shift forms one moment, a simple-minded, round-faced, cheerful, plump body. The next, a perfect copy of someone else, like the character Leona. He's bold, too. He basically boasts, face dancers can strike faster than you suspect. He's the one who delivers that final, absolutely devastating offer to Paul after Shani dies, using Paul's deepest grief as a weapon. Their whole method is about eroding trust, sowing confusion, isolating the target, making them perfect for this kind of subtle psychological attack on Paul.
And one more player, often overlooked maybe, but crucial according to the sources, Korba.
Yes, Korba. He led the Kwisatz, the sort of priesthood that sprang up around Paul's religious movement, a high priest of the Muad'Dib religion. And he represents the danger within Paul's own power structure, religious fanaticism twisted for political ends. His plan, essentially, was to martyr Paul, to ensure the jihad continued, maybe even intensified, by turning Paul into a figurehead, conveniently shifting blame for its worst excesses onto Chani, of all people. It just highlights how easily faith gets manipulated, how fervent followers can become dangerous tools, and how even messianic power can be undermined from the inside by those claiming to serve it. So yes, this incredibly tangled web, all these factions, all these motives, all converging on Paul, trying to control him, use him, or just flat out destroy him.
So what does this all mean for Paul personally? I mean, all these plots swirling, plus the terrible weight of knowing the future. It forces him into these agonizing choices, especially around Shinyemi, his beloved. He knows she's going to die in childbirth. He sees it, and knows it's partly due to contraceptives secretly given by Atridis under B'nai Gesserit influence, but he feels powerless to stop it. It's the ultimate cruelty of his prescience, isn't it? He sees the knife falling but can't move his hand, not even for the person he loves most.
Exactly. That inability to save Chani, despite seeing her fate, just deepens his isolation. It becomes his personal hell. And later, when he's physically blinded in an assassination attempt, it's compounded. But here's the thing the sources emphasize. His blindness isn't total disability for him. He still has his prophetic vision. He literally says, "They could only blind my body, not me. I only have prophetic vision." It's chilling. So his physical blindness almost becomes a metaphor. It reinforces his heightened, painful awareness of the future he can't escape. He sees everything that matters, all the horror, all the outcomes, but his useless eyes just underscore his inability to change course. He's truly a prisoner of what's to come.
And then comes the ultimate test, the absolute emotional low point. Saitel, the face dancer, offers Paul a gula of Chani after her death. Just imagine the temptation, the sheer cruelty of it. To hear Chani's voice again, to feel her presence near me again. Paul thinks this. It's designed to break him, isn't it? To make him compromise everything just for that echo of her. He even realizes why they gave him the Duncan Gula first. So I would know how much a copy can resemble the original, paving the way for this offer. It's psychological warfare at its most brutal.
It is the ultimate temptation. And his refusal, his choice in that moment, that's where his path is truly sealed. His acceptance of his role, his golden path, as it later becomes known. He says with this almost weary finality, "I tell you, the time of my trial has come, and it will show the depth of my service. The cost is immense, unbearable." But he accepts it. Time to pay, he thinks. You see him grappling with concepts like law, order. He wonders if law is the highest ideal, the basis of our nature. But then he immediately warns against looking too closely at law, because you find rationalized interpretations, casuistry of lawyers, convenient precedents, and then this killer line, clarity, other name for which is death. It's this chilling idea that absolute clarity, perfect knowledge, rigid adherence to a foretold path, even if it seems right, it might be a kind of death itself. The death of choice, the death of humanity, maybe.
So this whole deep dive into Paul Muad'Dib in Dune Messiah, it reveals this incredibly tragic figure, doesn't it? A man trapped by the very power that made him a messiah. Navigating this treacherous landscape of plots, both political and mystical, his struggle is just this stark reminder that power, especially foresight like his, it comes with a profound, maybe unbearable price. It's a tough lesson about knowledge, leadership, compromise, and maybe the illusion of free will against destiny.
Yeah, and there's a quote from the sources that really resonates here. Eternity moves. It acts in the same way on the oracle and the supplicant who comes to him. It suggests this grand and different cosmic force just moving. Regardless of individual will, whether you're the one seeing the future or the one asking about it, destiny unfolds. If you knew your entire future, absolutely everything, all the good, all the bad, would that knowledge truly set you free? Or would it just make you a prisoner of what's inevitably coming?